All right, I'll just choose whoever's first on my list. So, Emily, do you mind reading this biography?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Svoboda does it all. Novels, stories, memoir, biography, poetry that pops up in the New Yorker from time to time, and even a libretto. Her work spans continents and astonishing breadth of subject matter, including mermaids, pirates, conquistadors, and ghosts to American veterans. Black glasses like Clark Kent, cattle herders on the Nile, and a young woman seeking self-discovery, Bohemian Girl. With Svoboda, you can expect the unexpected and a big heart beating under every surprising line. Start with Trailer Girl and Other Stories, a mix of novella and stories.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, Teresa has a wide range, but mostly fiction oriented stories. So we see mermaids, pirates, conquistadors, um, even up to ghosts. So you can see her touching a few genres altogether. But within her work, what is interesting is that you are able to expect the unexpected. So I think that's very interesting. So let me introduce one of her books called Roxy and Coco, which has a very interesting storyline. So let's read that right now. David, can you please read the first two paragraphs?
Okay. Roxy and Coco, sisters and glamorous harpies, mythical birdwomen, work to save the world by stopping child abuse, while also trying to evade capture. For readers of Neil Gaiman and Karen Russell, Sister Roxy and Coco are two glamorous harpy, the mythical birdwoman, attempting to outrun extinction and fix the planet by preventing child abuse, one child at a time.
Aw- Awesome, thank you so much. Alex, can you read the third paragraph?
When Roxy is suddenly in love with her human supervisor at a social work agency 100 years too early, Coco is very suspicious. Tim is also on the payroll of a fake uh, conservationist intent on her less than legal collection. Coco swoops in to vet him, but Interpol is hot on her trail for a series of curious homicides. Surveillance has a hard time convincing his boss of what he's doing. When the sisters find themselves trapped, Chris, a bipolar skateboarding Tron, tries his best to rescue them, but it's Stewie, Coco's colleague, who turns the story inside out. Roxy and Coco is confronted at the gala of egg fanciers who scramble to escape the Harpies' talent.
Awesome, thank you so much. And let's see, Ellie, can you please read the last section? Last paragraph. Sorry, Ellie, can you please read starting with action figure? Right, no response. So then let's see I'll read it. Action figure worthy for readers of Neil Gaiman and Karen Russell. This modern take on these fabled women touches on um mental illness, racism, animal rights, and the rights of children. So, very interesting stuff. So they take things that are that is mythological and very fictional and bring attributes of real world settings like such as like child abuse and they bring concepts like racism, animal rights. So all very interesting. Um, and it's very interesting how um Svoboda introduces a lot of themes within the story of love, then this idea of animal rights, racism. So definitely recommend it will definitely help with introducing and synthesizing ideas that you would never think of harpies and child abuse mixed together, but Therese made a very interesting play on it and an interesting take on bringing such serious messaging with this fictional storyline. All right, so let me go back to the quote of the day. So can I get Emily, can you please read this quote by Edith Wharton?
There are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it.
Awesome. So when reading this, Emily, what are some initial thoughts that you got from this?
The candle produces the light and the mirror reflects it.
Yeah, that's a very direct way to look at it, but what about a metaphorical way? David?
So like I guess that you can so I guess spreading light could also be interpreted as like spreading kindness. So to be the candle that spreads light is the person who is kind, or the mirror that reflects it could be someone who's kind back to the person who's kind.
Yeah, exactly right. It's this idea that you have two ways of spreading this sense of light, one being that source of light or mimicking or reflecting on it. So that's one thing I think that is very interesting and very deep to understand. Now what I would like you guys to do is research a time where one person action sparked people to mirror their light. So this will be more of a research task where would have you guys look for a person. Now this doesn't have to be so literal in terms of kindness, but we understand this idea of good, just, justice, and etc. So what I would like you to do is approach this task keeping that in mind. I will give you guys 15 minutes, and if there are no questions, you may get started now. All right, so you only have 1 more minute left. How many would need extra time? Raise your hand. Like an extra 5 minutes? Or type in yes into the chat. No? All right, seems like everyone is set to send their work. So let's get that done. Please send me what you have and I'll open up a document for us to edit on.
Can I read to you what I found?
Well, the idea is for me to give you specific edits, but if you wrote it down somewhere else, did you type it into your computer or did you write it down on paper?
I thought I was gonna read to you the stuff that I found, but I can write it down on paper right now.
So the idea of this task, Emily, is just to write us like a summary of what you found. So for example, you would talk about the person, who they are, what did they do, where like a little biography about them, then what they did that was so significant, how did people react to it, and then your own conclusion from it. So I was just wondering, did you have a body of work like that, or you just have kind of bullet points of what you found?
I can write a full summary right now.
Okay, so then how about you do that? Let's so take this time right now, Emily, to write down your summary, and then as I'm editing others, okay?
Okay.
So Alina, let's take a look at yours. So you said Dr. Jonas Salk developed the first effective polio vaccine in the 1950s. At a time when polio outbreaks caused widespread fear, paralysis, and death. Okay, so if you're gonna name symptoms, although I know you said caused here, so then it kind of goes underneath that umbrella, but it's good to specify that cause the mental consequence symptoms or the mental reactions, and then specify the symptoms that it caused. So for example, at a time when polio outbreaks caused widespread fear, then we would say symptoms of paralysis and death. And I think we would say sometimes resulting in death. Salk's vaccine was a breakthrough. He chose not to patent the vaccine, famously stating that the people owned the patent on his vaccine. He chose not to patent the vaccine, famously stating that the people owned. Is this a direct quote or kind of your own interpretation here, Alina? Reworded it. Okay, then yeah, that's fine. If it was a direct, if it was direct quote, then you would add the quotations. Now, I would think if that's the case, stating would be a little bit more or a little bit too much of a strong word in terms of when you say someone states something, typically, you would have a direct quote. Now, if you wanted to just kind of generalize or reword what he states, then maybe using this adjective might be a little better. So famously preached that the people own the patent on his vaccine. All right, so then this act of generosity and commitment to public health allowed for the rapid and widespread distribution of the vaccine, leading to a dramatic decline in polio cases worldwide. Awesome. Salk's work not only saved millions of lives, but also inspired a collaborative spirit in the scientific and medical communities, emphasizing the importance of accessibility and the collective good in healthcare advancements. Awesome, perfect. Yeah, everything else looks great. I would just say the only things here would be specifying a little bit more and breaking up that sentence just to give that specificness, just in case if a reader were to get a little confused. And then instead of stating, I would just say use preach instead, because stating typically is followed by a direct quotation. So it might seem out of place when using the word stating. Although they are synonymous to each other, so it's not like it's a wrong word to use, but I would say preached would be a better. Oh, famously preaching that the people own the pan. Okay, that's all the feedback I have for you, Lena. Do you have any questions or things you would want to ask? No? Perfect. So, where are we at with everybody else? David, how's it going?
Sorry, I just forgot to send it in.
Oh, no, you're good. Let me edit yours as well. So if you, for those who have not submitted, please do so soon. So you said the Boston Tea Party occurred on December 16, 1773. It's considered, I would say, just to kind of add the emphasis of this event, you can say this historic event was considered as the accumulation of simmering colonization of simmering tensions between the American colonists and the British government. The Sons of Liberty, a patriarch group, threw chests of tea into the Boston Harbor. I think here we can put an adjective, maybe radically, just to emphasize that this is a state of aggression. So even aggressively or purposely even. Due to this, the British party was outraged, viewing the party as treason and a challenge to their authority. They passed the Intolerable Acts that punished Boston so instead of in order to. I know we're very tempted to use this, even I sometimes catch myself doing this, but two would always be a better option, especially in academic writing. They passed the Intolerable Acts. Because it is capitalized, David, I'm assuming that this is like a kind of bill to punish.
Yeah, it was like a bill.
A bill, right? Um, so I would put they passed the Intolerable Acts. Because acts are next to each other, it just seems a little off. So I just want to see if we can use a better word. They passed the Intolerable Acts. Even actions would be just to give it a little bit more variation to the wording. Yet the colonies didn't get suppressed, rather they reflected the sentiment of reflect the sentiment. Yet the colonies didn't get suppressed, rather they reflected the sentiments. Reflected the sentiments of the Sons of Liberty. Or the sentiments expressed by the Sons of Liberty during the Tea Party. I would split up the sentence. I know the second sentence will be quite short, but what we could say here is in their okay, so yeah, unanimous in their thoughts and emotions, they united to fight against Britain. All right, that's all the feedback I have for you, David. Majority of it is just kind of adding a little extra to the sentences. For example, the historic event, instead of just saying it's, adding an adjective to kind of convey that emotion, and then using the word actions to instead of saying acts twice next to each other. That's all the feedback I have for you. Do you have any questions, David?
No.
All right, sounds good. So Rosa Parks is a courageous woman who fought for her rights and the better rights of other people. I would say I think it would be good to say is African American woman who courageously fought for the betterment of her human rights and of others. Take this out as well. Her simple deed not only inspired Martin Luther King Jr., but also jump-started the U.S. Civil Rights Movement. She refused to give up her bus seat to a white man, and although she got arrested, her action inspired many others to fight for their rights. Her actions inspired others to fight for their rights. Because we already mentioned rights here, maybe we can reword it in a different way. So her actions inspired many others to bring equality. We can say that. Just to give variation, the Black people then started, I would say take out the. Now, here, this is where it becomes a little sensitive. Now, in terms of saying Black people, there's nothing wrong saying that. But because it was specific to African Americans, I would say it would be better to say African Americans. And I would say this citywide bus boycott, I don't think it was just them. I think you could say Africans, African Americans, and their supporters. Um, s- started a citywide bus boycott to protest and were determined to make their voices heard. Mhm. Now, I could be wrong if it was just African Americans that just did this citywide bus boycott. I'm just not sure if they mentioned that specifically. Do you know, Emily, if it was just African Americans or were they joined in with their supporters as well?
I don't think I researched that far.
Okay, so let's just say, yeah, and their supporters, just to cover everybody. And then Rosa Parks also inspired many other peaceful protests all around the world. She's a role model for people of all ages, race, and gender. Races and genders. Instead of saying, we can say as. She showed showed us a fine word. We can just play around, maybe saying demonstrated. That you should fight for your rights and a better future for all. Okay, so that is all the feedback I have for you, Emily. Just a few word choices and structure, but everything else looks good. Yeah. Any questions regarding the feedback that I just gave you right now, Emily?
No, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing. What we're gonna do now is practicing more formal writing. This is literature review. Now, with literature review, I'm just gonna kind of remind those who may have forgotten or would need a little refresher that with literature reviews, this is the most formal aspect of writing. Now, this is of course, you're giving an opinion, you're giving a claim, but does not mean that it can be in second person. I want you guys to be very formal with it. Now, there are ways to state an opinion and state a claim without having to use second person or first person. You can approach it in a way saying, this essay, right? Instead of saying I think or I conclude or anything like that, you wanted to say, like put an opinion to, you can say this essay or this study or this um mm, or overall. I think this essay or this study would be the most common ones that I can think of. But so anytime you want to say I or this, you can just say this essay or this study. Or you don't even have to say that. You could just say it is agreeable that blah 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 blah. Or it is most commonly accepted. Or wanted to say the other way, it is not. Or it's most commonly accepted to not, or however you structured it. But the idea is avoiding first and second person. That will be the challenge, even though it is an opinionated essay and task. So this idea is that some people say that the government should not put money into building theaters, sports stadiums. They should spend more money on medical care and education. So to what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? So I want you guys to write around 250 words. Now, if you write a little bit less, that's okay. But I do want some solid essays, more than one paragraph. I should see an introduction. The body should consist of some literature that you found that agrees with your statements, and maybe even some examples that showcase how it's better or how it's worse. To input money more in medical care and education. So these are the things that you should include in your body. You should always, in any type of claim, you should always introduce the counter argument. And then that's when you can make a conclusion from it. So for example, based on this study that explains that blah, 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 it is noticeable that there is lack of evidence or lack of statistics to blah, 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 like to, and then you would make your conclusion. So this is the idea to approach the task, all right? Now,
Wait, so you have to say the side that you don't agree with, and then you say this is not right or something.
so which would you agree with right now? What do you think, Emily? Would you say yes, they should, or they shouldn't?
I think they should.
Okay, so then that is your claim. That's where your majority of your paragraph should focus on. Now, when I say make the counter argument, you should be saying finding ways or finding a little bit of research to say that, you know, the governments have put money into building theaters and sports stadiums, but it didn't work, right? And then you'll explain some literature about that. So although you're saying the counter argument, it's not necessarily saying that you're disagreeing with what you're saying, but you're kind of showcasing the fact that there's not enough to convince me or convince people that this is the right way. Does that help?
Okay.
All right.
Can I write it on a Google Doc so I can keep track of the words,
Of
the
course.
amount of words I write, and then
Yeah.
I copy it into the chat, or do I share my screen?
So you'll be copying and pasting what you have. I totally recommend you writing on a Google document or just a Microsoft document, whatever you like, just so you don't lose your work. I don't recommend typing it actually in the chat because you could lose it and there is a word limit. So, and that goes for everybody. Write it on a Google document or a Word document and copy and paste what you have. That being said, does anyone else have any questions? More questions? No? All right. So here I'm going to give you guys 20 minutes to work on this, as you'll need to do a little bit more writing and research. If you need more time, I can definitely give it to you. Maybe an extra 5 minutes, but I'll check in at 20 minutes and see where you guys are at. If there are no other questions, you may get started, and I'll be here if you need any help with anything. All right, so time is up after one more minute. How many would like an extra 5 minutes? Type in yes into the chat. Okay, I'm seeing some responses. So let me give you guys an extra 5 minutes and complete as much as you can and then send me what you have and we'll go over quickly together, all right? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. You still have 2 more minutes, but I'm just gonna get started with the editing as these will be longer. So, Alina, let's take a look at yours. All right, so you said here the government should prioritize spending more on medical care and education rather than on theaters and sports stadiums because they form the backbone of a healthy, educated, and productive society. I would say instead of spending more, what we could say instead maybe is prioritize funding on medical care and education because they form the backbone of a healthy, educated person. Investing in healthcare ensures that all citizens have access to to essential medical services, which leads to a healthier population that can contribute more effectively to the economy. Preventative care, treatment of chronic diseases, and emergency services are critical for reducing long-term healthcare costs and improving quality of life. Here, this is a good fact, but what we need is a reference to a study. If you're going to introduce improvement, where is the stats? So if usually when they say this, typically there's a statistic, or if there's no statistics, then you can just refer to the source. Because when you just write this, which is great, even if it's in your own words, you have to refer to the source because it creates more credibility. So for example, what we could say here is like, let's just say Smith, I don't know who made it, but Smith 2024 conducted a study which concluded that preventative care, treatment of chronic diseases and emergency services are critical for improving quality of life. A robust healthcare system can also better manage public health crisis, as evidenced by the COVID-19 pandemic, highlighting the need for well-funding medical infrastructure and research. Okay, again, if you're going to mention the COVID-19 pandemic, how? Exactly. As a reader, we should know more of the specifics, or at least have it cleared of exactly how COVID-19 is related to the public health crisis, and how the system can be better. Of course, a lot of people know this, and it is general knowledge, but within any formal writing, you want to bring some kind of evidence towards it. Similarly, funding education is a cornerstone of the development of any nation. Quality education equips individuals with the skills and knowledge necessary to innovate, compete in the global market, and drive economic growth. So critical thinking, informed citizenship, which are crucial for functioning democracy. By investing in education, the government can break cycles of poverty and reduce income inequality, creating more opportunities for all members of society to succeed. Okay. This is a good example. Now, instead of adding this, we should see a sentence where there's proof. Like, as for example, in the United States, the more the let's say women, since they are there is an income inequality between men and women, you can just mention since the um some movement, some of some sort, there has been a steadily increase of income equality, and educating members of society on the issue is crucial. So stuff like that would be good. While theaters and sports venues do enhance cultural life and provide entertainment, their impact on the overall well-being and economic stability of a nation is less direct. These venues can be important for community engagement and local economies, but they often benefit a smaller segment of the population and can divert. So, prioritizing medical care and education ensures the fundamental human needs are met and lays the groundwork for a thriving, equitable society. Thus, government spending should reflect these priorities, focusing. You should have a sentence here as seen, and then you would just give like a mention a sentence that kind of summarizes stats. And then thus governmental spending should reflect these priorities and over short-term entertainment. Okay, so Alina, this is really good. One thing though is that there is a lot of repetition within the points you're making where you're which is great, but if you're gonna repeat these points throughout your writing, you should incorporate some kind of proof, some kind of statistic to emphasize what you're saying is valid. Now I know this is an opinionated piece, so a lot of it will incorporate your own opinion, but still we need some kind of literature or statistic that you can mention in your work. For me, that was the biggest feedback that I can give you right now. How can you, so a lot of it can be taken out of what you wrote. So like for example, this part of it fosters functional, which is crucial for a functional democracy. These are great points. And then this part is great as well for an introduction, but we just need proof in between. Because if we just put these all together, it's kind of just you rewording everything. Whereas if you had some kind of proof, like for example, if we're going to talk about functioning democracy, add a sentence kind of describing how education helped a functioning democracy, how it helped economic growth, how it helped reduce income inequality. So these are three sentences that are missing within each point that you're trying to make. That's all the edits feedback I have for you. Alina, do you have any questions regarding the feedback that I just gave you right now? No? Okay. So there is 3 more minutes left. So please try to send me what you have right now, just so I can take a look before the session does end. Okay, so if you don't finish, then that's okay. I won't have time to give you guys solid feedback that I just gave Alina right now. So how about this? What you're gonna do is for homework, I am going to add an extra step. So what you're gonna do is please finish the finish slide 10. which is the task. And then once you finish that, I want you guys as well to rewrite a nursery rhyme into a drama-packed story using power verbs, adjectives, different synonyms. So I guess I should do that. Synonyms.
Wait, do I have to do this, Mark?
Yes.
Oh.
So because we didn't get a chance to finish and have me edit slide 10, I still want you guys to at least get some feedback on the work that you have done so far, because I don't want you guys to just do work for nothing. So finish that slide 10, or at least conclude it so you don't have to worry about it. And then your actual homework will be rewriting a nursery rhyme. So for example, let's say the itsy bitsy spider. So like the itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. You can play around with the wording, saying the meticulously small arachnid stealthily went up the water spout for blah 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 blah. So the idea is taking something simple and making it more elevated, more advanced for a reader. So play around with the wording, play around with the structure. You don't have to change too much of the nursery rhyme, and you don't have to change the entire storyline, but it would be cool if you added a little bit more extra plot to the story or to the nursery rhyme. And now I know nursery rhyme is going to be short, so you don't have to make it 350 to 500 words. I would say just include the original of the nursery rhyme, so then the person reading it or editing it will be able to understand what you're trying to do. So and submit that all into the forum, including your task from slide 10. Does anyone have any questions?
Can I just share my screen because the chat says the amount I wrote is too big for it, so I don't know how the other people did it.
Yeah, so probably you have to do it in parts, Emily, but because of time, I won't be able to edit it right now, since the session has ended, but include it in your homework. I'm assuming you're already finished, right, Emily?
Yeah, I think I'm finished.
So yeah, just when you write your homework document, right, that you have to include in the forum, just title homework part 1, slide 10. You'll get some feedback and edits with that. And then also some feedback and edits with the nursery rhyme as well. Same goes for everybody. Include homework part 1 and then part 2. Any other questions?
Does the nursery rhyme have does it have to be more than a certain amount of words?
No. For the nursery rhyme, it can be short. But when you edit it, the idea is not length, but the idea is just making it more elevated, using different words, synonyms. If you want to add a little extra, you definitely can. But the idea is just playing around with wording and building your vocabulary, building the way you structure something simple to become more advanced. Any other questions? No? All right, then have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next Saturday. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Goodbye.